Good morning. Happy Wednesday. I'm Dr. Lisa Lindsay Wicker. I am the host of the Career Mastered Inside Career Success Show, and I'd like to enjoy today's conversation with you. Welcome. Thank you for being here. We are ready to rock and roll and have an engaging, wonderful conversation with one of our honorees from the 2025 National Career Mastered Awards. Before I introduce her, let me tell you a little about the Career Mastered magazine. We've been in existence since 2018 as the media portion of the Career Mastered Women's platform. We are a platform that advances women's careers through webinars, seminars, summits, brunches, the likes, as well as tell her story in the pages of our quarterly publication that is global. We are honoring and we are working and talking with women that lift women, that celebrate women, that connect with women, that choose to be about women supporting women. And then, of course, we have the men allies that come along to help support us in a number of ways. And so today we're going to talk with Dr. Gloria Burgess, and I'll introduce her shortly. But prior to that, let me tell you about the month of May. Wow. I don't know where to start, but let me first start by saying I am humbled, but yet also I am honored to tell you that we had one of the most spectacular seasons during the month of May for the Career Mastered program. We started and relaunched the Brunch with the Master series, which started back in 2016, but we have now put that program on the national spectrum. We started the month of May on May 1st in New York City at the New York Stock Exchange, a historical moment for Career Mastered, where we took a delegation of at least 20 of our fabulous, what I call supporters, be whether they're corporate supporters, partners, women, and men who have been with us since the beginning, to the floor of the stock exchange, where we had an opportunity on Investing Day, May Day, which is very important to the significance of the New York Stock Exchange, to have an understanding of the beginnings of that institution. We were greeted and hosted by wonderful colleagues there at the exchange. And we also had our first brunch with the masters at Hotel Indigo. We were privileged to have Pat Healy, who is one of our national honorees and author of Meet 100 People, with us. We were able to give her an award for her distinguished leadership. So congratulations, Pat. And then we also were able to move forward to the second brunch with the masters in Charlotte, North Carolina at Myers Park Country Club, where we had over 100 women and men allies get together during the speed networking session, as well as hear from a panel of distinguished women, including April Simpkins, who, by the way, is featured as our cover girl for the summer Career Master magazine that you see here on the screen. April is absolutely a fabulous mental health advocate, but also has written a book with her deceased daughter by the time you read this. And so she, along with three other honorees, spoke about making connections, making sure we're mentally connected correctly, as well as ensuring that we're engaging to take each other along the path of mastering our careers. And so I'm really excited about what happened here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And last but not least, for the month of May, we stopped in Detroit at Myers Park Country Club, where over 125 women and men were there to honor and hear from one of our fabulous honorees, Ariva Martin, multi-award winning attorney, CNN contributor and author and autism advocate, spoke with us there about her life, her career, and she was absolutely authentic and open to sharing the journey that she, experienced as she opened Martin and Martin, a large legal firm in California, and she has agreed to host us in LA. So the brunch with the masters will be on our way to LA, as well as to the next stop will be Connecticut. And so, if you have an opportunity and you would like to bring these brunches to your city, please do so. We can have you up and running in no time. It's very little work to do, but let us know by writing us at info@careermaster.com. And last but not least, before I bring on Dr. Burgess, let me tell you about what's heading your way for June. Our biannual Top Entrepreneurial Women to Watch is coming your way. So if you are a trailblazer, you're disrupting your industry, you are a founder, and you are blazing through and making impact as a woman entrepreneur, this is for you. Listen up. The Top Entrepreneurial Women to Watch only happens biannually. This opportunity allows you to be featured globally, but it's a national program. We absolutely are taking applications now. You can go to www.careermaster.com to apply. The benefits are amazing. There's a press release. You have an opportunity to be featured in the magazine when it comes out this fall. You also have a chance to become the cover girl for this issue, as well as whoever the cover girl is going to be selected based on criteria. You can be able to receive a $2,500 business grant. And so this is no joke. When things come your way, I always say, don't let opportunities pass you by. They only happen at certain times, and either you get it or you don't. And so I'm expressly sharing with you that this is every other year, but you too can be on the cover, just as April is here, on the print and digital for the top entrepreneurs to watch. And so stay tuned. I'm looking forward to it. It's a simple process, and I can't wait to see who we'll get to absolutely share with the world, those that are ready to shine about the work that they're doing as they continue this journey called entrepreneurship. It's no joke. It's not for the faint at heart. And if you're into this, then we are here to support you. And now let me bring to the stage our guest. Hi, Dr. Burgess.
Hi there. Good to see you, Lisa. Dr. Wicker, thank you so much for hosting me.
Oh, absolutely. I am ecstatic to have you. I am thrilled that we had a chance to meet when we were hosting the brunch series in North Carolina.
Yeah.
But I'm more thrilled that we get to talk today as one of our honorees for this year's National 2025 Career Master Awards. You received that honor. But let me introduce her first audience before we get into our conversation. Dr. Gloria Burgess is a distinguished leadership expert, international speaker, author, educator, renowned for her work in transformational leadership, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and personal legacy. She is the founder and CEO of Jazz Inc., a global leadership development firm, and executive director of the Lift Every Voice Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to arts and education. Born in Mississippi, hey there, I'm
Hey.
that girl as well. Dr. Burgess overcame significant challenges, including poverty, racism, sexism. Her father's inspiring journey from custodian at the University of Mississippi to college graduate, aided by Nobel laureate William Faulkner, profoundly influenced her life, as is chronicled in her book, Pass It On. Dr. Burgess holds a PhD in performance studies and an MBA in organizational behavior and information systems from the University of Southern California. I could go on and on, but I'm going to let you get to know Dr. Burgess. Welcome, Dr. Burgess.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be here.
Yes. And then for those that are with us on LinkedIn Live or YouTube or Facebook, please chat with us or add the chat and share this program with those that you know. So, Dr. Burgess, your personal story is so compelling, and it has a warm spot in my heart because we come from the same state. And I know you know, having been born and reared, I was like you in Mississippi, there's a story to tell. Can you share a pivotal challenge that shaped your leadership journey?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Wicker. I've thought about this a lot because I mentor a lot of women and men in their career journey, and I think one of the key pivotal things for me was realizing that my love of learning could actually serve me well. And
Mm,
here's what I mean by that. I went to uh, undergraduate and then got two graduate degrees, boom, 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 back to back, right? And
yes.
those degrees are in the humanities, in communication and the arts, right? And I realized when I was working on my PhD in Southern California that the work that I had envisioned for myself was too far in advance of where the culture was. But I realized the value of getting a PhD. So I went through my program and I did a hard pivot
Mm,
from the arts, from the humanities, from that world of communication into high tech. Okay, so I was one of the first African American women in that industry, and I also became one of the first executives. I think the first Black woman executive in IT.
wow.
And what I learned along the way was that being a learner, being someone who put professional growth and personal growth and knitted them together would serve me not just once, not twice, but over and over and over again in my career. And I have to give a shout out to the gentleman who opened the door for me in high tech
Okay.
because he looked at he looked at my resume like 50 other companies did, but they rejected me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But he looked at it and he said, okay, so you don't program, okay, but we need a programmer. You don't have this, you don't have this, you don't have this, but here's what you do have.
Yes.
Okay. And so he turned that number of don'ts into something that could work for the organization. It was a big company, Honeywell. And he said, this is what you have, and this is what we need at this organization. We know that you can learn. You have not one, not two, but 3 degrees.
Yeah.
So we know that you can learn. And he opened the door for me when other people were saying, what is this arts person going to do over
Yeah.
here for us,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm, hmm.
And that turned, like I said, into a 20 plus year career in IT.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. You often speak of legacy and transformation. I'm going to ask you about legacy, but let me ask you about transformation because you're coming from the technology background as well as arts and communications.
Yeah.
What do you think? And this is just off the cuff. What do you think about AI right now and what's happening in the realm of technology?
Well, that's a great question because actually, when I started in high tech, we talked a lot about AI. This is over 30 years ago, right? And
Yeah.
so I actually worked for part of the organization that did a lot of research, and one of my bosses was into what was called fuzzy logic, which meant unsolvable problems, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But AI was part of our landscape even then, Lisa. So I've actually thought about AI. I continue to stay in touch with technology. And I actually think that AI can do a lot of good for us, but, and here's the but, you also need the human interface in combination with AI.
Right.
There are a lot of things that AI can do that are like analytical, data driven, that kind of thing. And you don't necessarily need a whole lot of high touch human touch, but you still need that human touch. And then there are other applications for AI where that human touch is much, much higher on the scale in
Mhm.
terms of, making our world, humane
Yeah.
and livable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. Well, I mean, everybody's using it today, and
everybody's using it.
with your background, I'm certainly sure that you're leaning in to see where this thing is going. But
Yes.
how do you define legacy in the context of rising above adversity?
That's a great question. So let me just start by saying I know that most people in Western culture, most of our viewers here, right, think about legacy as connected with something that's out there in some distant future, or it's connected to wealth and building your personal estate, getting your finances in order so that, decisions can be made that you make
Yeah.
before you depart,
Yeah.
okay, before you die. And that's a great notion of legacy. That's an important aspect of legacy. But another aspect that I think that we undervalue here in our Western cultures is that legacy is not just something out there. It's something right here and now.
Hmm.
Because how you remembered depends on how you show up today. Okay.
True.
So when I talk about living your legacy now, I really am talking about the decisions you make, who you decide to include or exclude, the phone calls you make, okay, the emails you send, all of those things, the interactions you have, the conversations you have. One cup of coffee at a time, one cup of tea at a time, one walk at a time, you are creating the footprint, okay, that makes an impress on somebody else's heart, on somebody else's life.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so that's what I'm talking about when I talk about legacy. And in connection with rising above adversity, again, it's who we are today and how we show up. That's
Hmm.
going to impact anyone
Hmm.
in adversity or in times where there is no, adversity. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
So what I took from that, and I put it in the chat here, is a good quote is what you said is how you remember is how you show up today. And so, although we're not living in the past, we do remember that those things, right?
exactly.
And
Yeah,
though we bring a lot of that with us.
absolutely. I think it was Dr. Maya Angelou who said, people won't remember what you say, but they will remember how you make them feel.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's here and now,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Yeah.
and as leaders, we need to be very careful about the words we choose and how
Mhm.
how we converse, how we say what we say. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, all of those
Absolutely.
things. Yeah.
Well, now you talk about how we say what we say. For a career master this year, our theme is making connections. It starts with her.
Yes.
And we've used that throughout the brunches, and we use that throughout the recognition. And I think that's so important, especially in these times as change is happening and, all the executive orders, all the things that are going on in the world where people are uh, in need of those connections, right? What role did connections, whether it's family, mentors, or community, play in your ability to overcome those early childhood challenges?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. Well, so, I'm really blessed by the connections that I have, Lisa, and what I'm talking about first and foremost are the people in, I'm going to call them my personal village, right? So
Yeah.
these are my grandparents, these are my parents, my sisters, my aunties, my uncles, my teachers, my neighbors, and so I feel that the connections that I made when I was a little girl, when I was a teenager, when I was a young adult, have served me over and over and over again. Um, I know one of the things that I still have a Bible that my father gave me years and years ago, and inside the front cover, he wrote, "To thine own self be true."
Wow. You're gonna make me cry. I'll
Yeah.
tell you why in a moment. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
And well, you can tell me why now, and I'll just continue.
I'm gonna get emotional, so go ahead.
Okay. All right. I remember my mom always talking to us about, we'd come home, me and my sisters might come home crying. Well, somebody said, so and such a thing about me, right? And she says, well, did you pick yourself up and dust yourself off and keep on going, right? Okay. And what she was saying was, did you count your blessings? Okay. And
Mhm.
did you keep on going? Because don't let somebody else define who you are. Don't let somebody else run who you are. So, I got that sense of gratitude, deep gratitude, and being
Mhm.
grateful for my mom, being
Mm.
true to myself from my dad. And I'll just tell you another little bitty story about one of my teachers who just made an enormous difference for me. And I still tell this story in some of my keynotes. And it was, when my family transitioned from Mississippi to Michigan. My personal village was in Mississippi, right? Okay. And these are people who look like me.
Yeah.
Okay. These are relatives, right? And when my family moved north to Detroit and then to Ann Arbor, Michigan, I really didn't see very many people in Ann Arbor who looked like
Mhm.
me. Okay,
Mhm.
who had hair like mine and lips like mine and cheeks
Yeah.
like mine.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
in my classroom. In my entire school, I think there were like 3 African American kids, right? And so I remember my 6th grade teacher, and I'll make this short,
That's
but
okay.
she gave me a book of poems when I was, stuck inside, I decided that I was not going to go out to the playground and play with the other kids, right? I was going to stay in the room, had my head down on my desk, do my little pity party thing. And she walks into the classroom.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you had teachers with high heels on because you had.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
I heard her click, 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 and she put this little book of poems on my desk, and it was a lifesaver. And that little book of poems I still have. It's by Langston Hughes. It's called The Dream Keeper.
yeah. Oh,
And
wow.
Lisa, that was the first time in a classroom that I had held a book in my hands where I saw these little woodcuts, okay, pictures, images of people who look like me. I heard words. I mean, it was a book, but I heard the words. I heard
Yeah,
the words, right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. And I saw the rhythm and the swing and the sway of words that sounded like the people, my folks at home, right? My folks at
yeah.
church.
Mhm.
And so she gave me a reflection of myself, right? She said, I believe in you, I love you, and you are okay just the way you are. Come
Mhm,
on and play with us, right?
mhm.
And so those are the relationships, just some of the relationships
Yeah.
that I had in my personal village that I'm going to say shaped me, formed me, poured blessing into me, and continue to inform how I show up and lead.
Wow. Wow. Your story, we'll have to have some talk outside of here because I think we have a lot of the basic same foundational principles in terms of
Mm,
values. But the reason I got emotional is because my grandfather meant a lot to me in my career choices as a business person. And I have on the back of my wedding program, he was able to come from Mississippi to Michigan to my wedding at 80 some years old. They drove him there. And,
yes.
and I had him write on the back of my wedding program or sign it. And he wrote the poem, To Thy Own Self Be True. And he wrote about the image of the mirror, and probably a 2 sentence tribute to me and my husband.
Mm,
And so when you said that, it just automatically brought an emotion for me
sure.
because
Yeah.
that is from Mississippi, and the values and the things that we learn come from those places
Yes.
that teach us about truth and authenticity.
Yes.
And so that's why I got emotional. So thank you for that. Mhm.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And thanks for sharing that.
Yeah,
And what a blessing that
yeah,
your grandfather was able to come.
yeah.
Somebody drove him,
They
and
drove him. They drove him.
yeah,
But I would like to talk about leadership and impact.
yeah.
And you've worked with global leaders and organizations. I mean, I even like your father's story and what happened there from the laureate person. But what universal leadership traits have you found most vital during times of adversity? As our women, as we listen to you about, your challenge to triumph.
That's a great question. I have been blessed to serve and to collaborate with leaders all over the world in 30 some countries, Lisa. And one of the universal values that I know just stretches across all cultures, a universal value. And I'm going to use the L word. We don't often use the L word in organizations, right? But it's love.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the way that that shows up in organizations is very different. All right. But what most employees want, they want three things from leaders, right? They want three things from their bosses. They want to be cared for. Okay. So they're asking questions in their heads. Do you care about me? Right. Another question they ask is, can you help me? Right. Okay. And can I trust you?
Hmm.
Okay. So care, help, and trust.
Hmm.
And so caring is really an aspect of love. And more these days, I mean, I get to work with all kinds of organizations across different sectors, but more and more organizations, we're seeing that, two things kind of rise to the surface in terms of what employers are looking for. One is empathy. Well, what is empathy if it's not caring,
Yeah.
right? What
Hmm.
is empathy if it's not love, right?
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and showing your human relationship, your human caring with another person, another individual. right? So that caring and concern, that embrace, okay, whether it's a Zoom embrace,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah.
or up close and personal, like I can see you and I can actually reach out and touch
Right.
you.
Right. Right.
Okay, and so one of the books I wrote is called Flawless Leadership, and the subtitle is Connecting Who You Are with What You Know and Do. And
Mm.
so who you are as a leader is more important than what you know and what you do, because who you are informs, okay, what you know and what you do. And we just talked about that,
Yep.
okay, in terms of our family, right? Okay, so those values, who you are at the core as a leader, informs how you do everything else. All right. And so that universal value of caring, concern, empathy, and I'm going to just call it love because
Yeah.
that's really what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the one that we're looking for.
I love it. I love it. Well, love is a language that we all understand. And
Yes.
the other part of that that I would add is acknowledgement. People want
Yes.
acknowledgement. So when you love someone, that is an acknowledgement.
Exactly.
If you can
Yeah.
demonstrate it. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Um, many of our listeners or people that will listen to this conversation are aspiring leaders.
Yes.
Some are already leaders, but there are some that are navigating their own challenges. What practices help to ground you for clarity? Like, was there anything specifically? I know the one like you said about your teacher, how she helped, but are there some other little tidbits that you would provide or gems that you could give us?
Yeah. So for me, the foundational thing that I practice that I have that grounds me is gratitude. Okay. We,
Yes.
we talk about it as counting your blessings. Okay.
Mhm, mhm,
Keeping a
mhm.
gratitude journal these days. Okay. So whatever that is for you, but knowing that somebody came before you, okay, and knowing that you can help somebody else, okay, that's a blessing. That's something to give thanks for, right?
That's true. That's
And
true.
so I always think about the people who came before me and whose shoulders I'm standing
Mhm,
on. Okay.
mhm.
That's an act of gratitude. Guess what? That helps bring me back. Okay. When I kind of get scattered or lose my focus a little bit
Right,
or
right,
whatever. Okay. I go back to, okay, so, whose shoulders am I standing on? What am
right.
I here to do that only I uniquely, because of how I'm designed, right? How
Mhm,
I'm made,
mhm.
my special genius in the world.
Yeah,
Uh, that helps me. Another thing that helps me is knowing that if I don't take care of myself, I won't have my best to give. And so
true.
making sure that I fill my well so that I'm not giving from a half full or even an empty well or a dry well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dr. Burgess, I think we could talk all day because of the wisdom that you have, and that's really important for me too. As clarity is that we look and strive for wisdom in the
Yes.
things that we do. How can women create intentional spaces where others, especially emerging women, can also rise and lead?
That's a great question. I think the key word there for me is intentional spaces and being intentional to
Hmm.
do that. We talk about a lot about leadership, and more and more I see the conflation of women and men's leadership kind of coming together, which I think is great in the workplace.
Yes.
Honestly, in reality, women still have some different challenges, okay, and therefore different needs
Yeah.
than our male counterparts.
True.
Doesn't mean we can't, integrate and collaborate at work. That's critical, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But we still have to be intentional about creating spaces, I'm going to say, for women that are set aside and just for women, because um, again, we have different challenges, and we move through the world differently as well.
Yeah.
So being intentional to put women first, not leadership first, but women first, and then women's leadership. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
for me, that's a real distinction. Also, see yourself as a mentor because you have something to give. I don't care if you're just starting out in your career. Guess what? You still have life
Yes.
experience. So see yourself as a mentor and be intentional to reach out to people, let them know how to find you, where to find you. create coffee dates.
I
Okay.
love. Mhm.
Know that if you are in this place and you're wondering, like, so where can I find my peeps? Where can I find other
Yeah.
women?
Yeah.
Reach out. Say, first of all, acknowledge that you need help, right? And then reach out to another woman.
Mhm.
Chances are very good that they know someone, okay, or are doing something that includes women, okay? And always ask, who do you know that I should know?
I
Who
like
do
that.
you
Who do you
know that I
know
should
that I should know?
know?
And
Yeah.
people, a lot of times we hesitate to do that, but I need to write that in the chat. What did you say? Ask. Say that again.
Who do you know that I should know? Because all of us are one or two or maybe 3 degrees separated from somebody else, okay, who could be a help to us or to somebody that we know.
Yeah, and the thing I say, and one of my speakers in one of my conversations last year, I never forgot what she said. She says, "If you don't ask, you don't get,"
Yep,
and I believe that. And so, as long as you keep hoping and wishing without verbalizing to the people, that how would they know?
that's right.
Right?
How would they know?
Well, I appreciate that. And you have already answered one of the last questions I was going to ask, but if you want to kind of lean in on it a little bit more, it is these are times where people could be struggling,
Hmm.
whether it's mentally, having some challenges, physically or financially, or, relational struggles, because the changes that have happened so quickly, so um, uh, blatantly during these last months, certainly have caused for many to pause,
Yeah.
to reflect on what environment are we in, right? And
Mhm.
so, what advice would you give someone who is currently in the thick of struggle and unsure of a path forward? What can you offer them? And it's not like, a prescriptive. It's just, if this were you, not that that's you, but if it were you, what would you help people see that they can do for that transformation, which is what you are an expert in,
Yeah.
to do something different?
Yeah, that's a great question. And there's so many people out there who are struggling, Lisa. So I just want to acknowledge that.
Yes.
And some of us don't even know that we're struggling. Okay. Some of us know that we are, and some of us don't know.
I know that's true.
But, so I think that one of the things that I would recommend if you find yourself in that space, first of all, breathe.
Yeah.
Breathe, okay? And know that you are not alone. Okay, you're not alone. It may feel like you're alone. It may feel like you're the only one out there struggling with this or that. But let me tell you something. If you're struggling with it, there are at least 10 other people that you, okay, either know or are pretty close to that are struggling with the same kind of thing. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So know that you're not alone. Know that help is very close to you. But like you just said, Dr. Rickard, you have to say so. Okay, you
Yeah.
have to say, I'm stuck, I'm struggling. Okay, I'm challenged. Whatever your word happens to be, wherever you happen to be, and then ask for help.
Yes.
Ask for help. And I think for me, and I'll just make it personal, asking for help is probably one of the least frequent things that I used to do. Okay, because I
We
can.
got it. We
We
got
got
it.
it. I got this. I can do this, right? I'm a learner, right? Okay. And when I used to actually have a little sticky on my computer,
Uh-huh.
this is ask for help. Because when you put two and two together, you don't get, when you put two people together, you don't get two, you get three or
Yeah.
four. Okay,
Yeah.
it's exponential, right? And so you get more creativity, more collaboration than you could possibly imagine. Sometimes we're in a place where we don't really necessarily need a solution. We just need somebody to listen to us.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And
Yeah.
because, from saying so and from having somebody be a good listener who is, not judgment, they park their judgment at the door. They're just listening. Sometimes that can help us, get to our own clarity,
Yes.
another level of clarity about what's going on for us, which can help take us to the next step. So know that it's a process.
Yes.
Know that you're not alone, and
Mhm.
know that help is like very, very close by. I got
I got it. So I put down process, and you are not alone, but we need to ask. And
it.
sometimes I think also, as sisters, as women, if we can be in tune to our next person or our sister to just
Yes.
call and ask, are you
Yes.
okay? I have a friend right now who just lost a mom. And
Mm,
so it's like, are you okay? I have another friend whose husband's going through some challenges. Are you okay? Because maybe women that are, I call it us women who think we got it all together.
yeah.
Okay. uh, so we obviously, like anybody else, will have struggle.
Right.
And you made a good point. Sometimes we don't even know we're in the struggle because we're so used to doing
Yeah.
doing and
Exactly.
being doing and being.
Hmm.
And one of the things my mentor taught me is sometimes we need to go a different path. Don't drive the same way home that you normally drive, or go to a park that you may not see, and just sit down with yourself for a moment
Hmm.
and get centered
Hmm.
in a space where you don't have to think,
Hmm.
that you can just become, uh,
Yes.
so that you can start to feel, FEEL, the things that are happening, because
Mm,
sometimes we're so busy doing that we
yes.
don't feel, right?
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
believe that when you are in struggle, it's okay to stop for a moment so that you can feel
Yeah.
and know that you are in a struggle,
Yeah.
right? So
It's
good.
essential. It's essential.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this little saying. I'm sure you've heard it before, that people can live, what, 40 days without food, right? 4 days without water, uh, and 4 minutes without oxygen.
Yeah.
But we can't live without hope. Okay,
Yeah.
we
Oh,
can't
I like
live
that.
without that oxygen of hope, and that slowing down and just letting yourself be and feel. Okay, is a moment of you giving yourself that oxygen. Okay,
Hmm.
that oxygen of hope.
I love it. We're going to leave it there, Dr. Burgess. I thank you so very much for being with us today.
You are
I've really leaned into our conversation. I'm going to go back and listen to it myself. I want to thank our audience for joining us today. It will be shared again. If you want to play it back or share it with your colleagues that may have not had a chance to get with us today, please do that. But I'm really excited that we had a powerful conversation with Dr. Burgess today. And one of the things that she has said, and I'm just going to call her attention to this, is dare to wear your soul on the outside.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what all of that means, but I like that quote because if we're hiding and we are not being our true selves, it's hard
Yes.
to show up, right? So I lead you with that. I leave you all with that quote from Dr. Burgess: dare to wear your soul on the outside, live your legacy, makes meaningful connections, and rise to lead. So that's what we're about. That's what we're hoping to do. And I like the fact that we do have hope as a part of our oxygen. So today's show, I hope you were inspired. And again, share it. Thank you, Dr. Burgess, for joining us. In the meantime, we'll see you on the next one. And
All right.
is there a way that people can get in touch with you?
Yes, absolutely. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook. You can also go to my website, which is really simple. It's my name. It's Gloria Burgess.com. And if I can just mention, since you brought up Dirty Wear Your Soul on the Outside, that's actually the title of a book that I wrote. So you can go look for that book as well.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Now you got me. I'm going to have to find that because I bet that is a good one. So thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
And I'll talk with you soon.
All
Bye.
right. Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you. Wow. Sometimes when I'm talking to people, I'm leaning in, thinking about who I am and how what they say reflects on some things that I need to kind of shore up, right? And so I think we all, regardless of where we are within our careers, have an opportunity for growth. I think my philosophy is learning is growing. And if you're not learning, you're not growing. So today I had an opportunity to grow a bit more with Dr. Burgess and the things that she's offered us. And so thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate those that showed up today to hear this conversation. And you can catch it again on LinkedIn Live, YouTube with a Career Master or Lisa Wicker, or you can find us at Career Mastered and in its showcase there. In the meantime, I just want to remind you of a couple of things. Again, the Top Women Entrepreneur campaign just launched. If you're an entrepreneur, please don't hesitate. Don't miss the opportunity. June 30th is the deadline, but you have a chance to win a $2,500 business grant and be on the cover of Career Master magazine, which is a global footprint. In the meantime, I ask you to go over to careermaster.com and get a copy of the summer magazine where April Simpkins is our cover girl. April is a fabulous leader, and certainly you want to read about her career and what she's doing in the marketplace. But we also do some behind the scenes photos and some catch up on brunches, the Career Master Brunch with the Master. So you want to get that magazine and see what happened during those brunches in New York, Charlotte, and also Detroit. And then last but not least, we are taking a survey, and I certainly ask you to participate in the survey. You can get it on careermaster.com, but the survey is to find out what it is that we can do differently and continue to grow this platform called Career Master Women's Leadership, where we accelerate women's leadership towards the C-suite or an entrepreneur path and or the boardroom. And this survey is really asking you, what can we do if we choose to bring the membership to you in a different way that will provide you key resources on a regular basis. So please answer the survey. You can go over to careermaster.com and take that survey, and I appreciate it. In the meantime, thank you for joining us. Next week, we will be here with Joan T. Randall, who is also a Career Master honoree. Joan and I will be talking about books and the fact that you have a book somewhere within your soul that certainly the world needs to hear. And so again, thank you very much. And I'll see you on the next one, which is Wednesday, June the 11th. Take care.